It is 9:50 on a Thursday night, and you are turned into Beltway Radio and Beyond, which can mean one and only thing. Kinda. This is Chip Chat. Welcome, everybody, to another special edition of Chip Chat. I'm Chip. Tonight is the Brian Show. Say hi to everybody, Brian.
Howdy-ho!
So a lot of times you hear from Brian when we're in studio, but you rarely get to see him. This is so that you can see that he is in fact a white man. So this is going to be a good show. We're remote tonight because our building where our studio is caught on fire. Shout out to the folks Monday. For Real Talk, especially Kiki, who apparently called the fire department and noticed that our building was on fire.
Yeah.
Way to go.
Yes.
And any updates on that, Brian?
As of right now, I mean, if you've been watching on the network, a lot of shows have been on remote. So as of right now, we don't know what the full status of the station is. So likely that I'll probably find out on Monday. But I probably maybe do a drive-by in a safer sense on Sunday to see how things are. So yeah.
I've checked in with some of the folks over there. The last report I had was that we're still waiting on some permits to get the electricity restored. So
right.
Let's hope that all goes pretty smooth. So we've got a bunch of other stuff to talk about tonight. Let me see what's on the agenda here. Oh, yeah. Dominion settled with Fox. That's pretty funny. Florida continues to suck. This country can't stop shooting people. The other big news, Tez is not here with us, but it is worth noting that the Orioles went 2-0 against the Nats.
Not only 2-0, but a nice little double shutouts. So
yeah, 2 shutouts, 1-0 and a 4-0 victory. So the real Chip Chat Derby, of course, has been won by the Orioles. So sorry, Tez. Sucks for you. I know you had a lot of hope in the Nats. Also, we are as official on Twitter as everybody else as of like today, because the check marks are gone.
Yes.
Nobody
a lot of people crying and whining about that. So
it's pretty ridiculous. But there's other Elon news tonight, which we will get to a little bit. So it's going to be a fun show. Brian, do you have a word for tonight?
Yeah, I got a word.
Okay. All right. So we'll try this one out and see how it goes. So ready? Sit back, grab some
malfunction.
It's rocket time. You're listening to the best show, the only show, Chip Chat on Beltway Radio and Beyond.
Sweeps.
All right, welcome back to Chip Chat here on Beltway Radio and Beyond. I am your host, Chip. With me tonight is Brian. Where's Brian? There's Brian. Brian, what are your credentials as a co-host on this show, by the way?
I just push buttons, pretty much. So you get the sound effects or whatever crazy commentary, the peanut from the peanut gallery. So
Brian's job is to provide context.
Yes.
To the show.
Try to.
Yeah. So anyway, speaking of context, let's talk about Marjorie, who has no context for anything because she does not know what planet she's on.
No.
But what is important is that people need to understand like a couple of key details in order for the story to make any sense. Some while ago, I guess it was like several months ago, maybe, I think it was even, Bud Light decided to hire an influencer from the Instagrams to help them sell more what they call beer. And this person happens to be trans, and this has caused the right wing to turn apoplectic over the idea that a company would like to sell more of a product to make money because capitalism is bad.
Right.
Yes. It turns out queer people have money that Bud Light would like some of, so they wanted to sell them stuff, which sounds pretty good if you believe in capitalism, but not if you're a Kid Rock. So what happened is everybody went nuts, and all these right-wing people started trying to like boycott Anheuser-Busch. Several of them said they preferred Busch Light to Bud Light, as if that was somehow going to hurt AB's bottom line. I don't know if they know what the B in AB is, but it's definitely Busch. So that's some of the background information that you need to know. The other important background information you need to know is that there was this leak that happened through, of all places, Discord, where this Air National Guard Airman First Class, he's a young kid, he's 21 years old, named Teixeira. He basically got himself like an IT job with the Air Force and then used his credentials to get access to a lot of stuff that he really had no business getting access to, but and then like started releasing it to his little teenager gamer friends in his little Discord group.
Oh God, that's how it is. Okay.
Yeah. And he was like, hey guys, check this out. And he was also like really militant about like how much attention he wanted his friends to pay to this. They would lose interest and wander off, and he'd be like, no, you need to focus on Taiwan's air defense capabilities. And they'd be like, we don't care what is Taiwan? You know, they're like 17. They don't care. So eventually he leaked this out to like a lot of other people, and it included some information about Ukraine. The Washington Post has been doing a good job sort of like dissecting what information has been in the leaks and sort of explaining it. I kind of wish they wouldn't. It's national security stuff. But in any case, he released a lot of information. The FBI went and picked him up. He's facing a couple decades in jail. He's dead to right because everybody knows he did it. He admitted to doing it. So that's another piece of background information. The third piece of background information is somehow Marjorie thinks that Jack Teixeira is being persecuted by the Biden administration for being a white male Christian who defied him in some way or another. Defied Biden, I guess. The Biden regime is
I heard the regime.
So here's her actual quote that she tweeted. Jake Teixeira, sorry. She wrote Jake. I think his name is Jack. But
she don't know.
Yeah, it is Jack. She wrote Jake. Jake Teixeira is white, male, Christian, and anti-war. That makes him an enemy of the Biden regime. And he told the truth about troops being on the ground in Ukraine and a lot more. So pause. No, he didn't. In fact, none of the leaks that he did leak said anything about troops on the ground in Ukraine. That's not happening. She made that part up. Also can't spell his name right. Also, I'm not sure how white he is if his name is Teixeira, but that maybe is not super relevant to this. And he's not specifically anti-war. He's just like showing off that he can get this stuff. So, enter one Lindsey Graham, everybody's other favorite wackadoodle from south of the Dixon line. And Lindsey is a lot of things, gay being one of them, but also pretty pro-military. He is a JAG lawyer after all. He did serve in the Air Force, I think, as a JAG lawyer. He's big on the national security. He thinks that this kid should be buried under several jails because he leaked a lot of sensitive information. I happen to agree with Lindsey on this, which doesn't happen often. Okay, that's the background info that you need in order to understand why Marjorie also tweeted out a photo that she had doctored up that looks like this. If you've got it, Brian, there you go. This is supposedly a picture of Lindsey Graham holding a Bud Light. The original picture, of course, he's holding a very poorly poured pint of beer. It's all foam. However, in the doctored version, he's holding what appears to be a 24 of Bud with like a picture of the trans endorsement deal on the can.
Right.
I also think they think that the cans have rainbows on them now. I haven't seen any rainbow Bud Light cans in the 7-Elevens yet. I'm not saying that they're not out, but
it won't be out till June. So
yeah, it wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't be out till June. That's when Pride happens, you fucking dummies. But in any case, so Marjorie tweeted out this picture as a way to like get back at Lindsey, who called her an idiot for tweeting out the stuff about Jake Teixeira, whose name is Jack. This is a dumb fight, but we specialize in having fun with dumb fights here on this show. So we have assembled a list of other products that the right-wing people tend to like that also are at least not anti-gay. And in some cases, fine with everything because, again, capitalism, you want to sell products to everybody, right? Which color of the rainbow matters most to these companies, Brian? Do you know?
A lot of those, capitalistic companies, of course, and those that, features a lot of stuff that you can get on the cheap, get it in bulk, and haul it out pretty massively at any given time.
Yes. And of course, the color that most of these companies like in the rainbow is the green part, because that's what color money is, unless you're from one of those countries that I don't care about. So in any case, number one on this list of places that Republicans love to talk about that is also pretty into gay pride, it's Wally World.
Yep.
So if you go on Walmart's website and look up their Pride selection, this is one of the images you'll see there. They have an entire line of products that they specifically market as such. They have endorsement deals with various famous queer people, and so go ahead, go woke and go broke, as Ted Cruz likes to say. I challenge any Republican to come out as anti-Walmart and see what that gets you. That, I don't know, doesn't make sense. So Walmart on the list. That's who they're boycotting. What's number 2 on the list, Brian?
Let me see here. Let's scroll down a little bit if we can, because we always have malfunctions here, folks.
Yes. It's the name of this network.
Yes, name of the word here on Beltway Radio, NBI. Pretty much, we have is ammo.com.
Yeah, ammo.com. This is your home for all ammunition that you might need to buy for all of those hundreds of guns that you bought at the gun show with no background checks. What is ammo.com featuring?
Pretty much they have a multicolored, rainbow colored gun that would feature the pretty much they help sponsor self protection and conceal and carry for the LGBT community. So it's a self-defense class for them.
Yes. Ammo.com has a gay self-defense class. Yes. So, Marjorie, you can't buy your ammo at Walmart anymore. They've gone woke and they're not going to sell you rainbow ammo. And ammo.com now is too woke. I don't know where she can't buy it from Disney. So I don't know where else she's going to buy her ammo from. All right. Number 3 on this list is my favorite for a lot of reasons. This is the center of the right-wing oil world, I guess. I mean, well, maybe Houston could be, but anyway, it's Dallas. Dallas, Texas. Yep. This is their 40th Pride celebration. 40th. It's not like they're hiding it. Yeah. They've got their mayor is going to be out, and they've got a whole bunch of stuff going on. Brian, have you watched the show Dallas?
Which version? The classic version or the new
original or the current?
I saw a little bit of the classic version, of course. The whole who shot JR,
right?
Thing. So yeah, I'm familiar with it.
It's a pretty white conservative.
Yeah. There was probably until that show ended, they probably put on at least one black person who was not a butler or a driver or a cattle rancher or whatever. At least one black person, but
there's a black guy who's like an accountant or something.
Yes, probably that is.
So obviously Dallas, Texas is the home of, it's like the oil capital of Texas. Everybody there is big Republican sort of city. It's where the Cowboys nominally play, even though they don't. They play in Irving. But Dallas, very gay city. Yes. So Ted Cruz.
And just to let you know, for those who are interested of going to Dallas Gay Pride, it'll be from June 3rd to June 4th at the Ferret Center. So enjoy yourself.
There you go. Ted Cruz not invited.
Yes.
All right. Number 4 on this list. This is a really good one, Brian. I hope you got the image for this.
It's built Ford tough.
It's built Ford tough. This is now. This actually has an interesting story to it. Ford put out their new Ranger. This is the new Ranger that they made, and MAGA Republicans were like, that truck looks gay. And putting aside all of the it's a truck and therefore can't be gay conversation, because it's a truck, it doesn't have sexuality at all because it's a truck. Ford was like, oh, you want to see a gay truck? Here's a really gay truck. And they painted up one of those trucks, as you saw in the photo, to be the gayest truck. And trolled specifically people who were anti-gay. I don't see Marjorie out there burning her F-150, but I would recommend that they do, because otherwise, how else will we know how much they hate gay people? No Ford trucks for you. I'm almost 100% sure. I didn't actually look. The Dodge and Chevy also have Pride stuff, because why wouldn't they want to sell trucks to everybody? I don't know if you know this. Some gay people need trucks.
Yes. You need to go somewhere. So
let's just be honest. You can't haul everything you need for your lesbian side project in your Subaru. Occasionally you need an F-150 to go to Home Depot, which also has a Pride section on their website. So I guess they don't get to go to Home Depot anymore. Right. All right. Number 5, again, big corporation, 100% that a lot of products that these people buy are under this umbrella, even if they're not buying the flagship product itself. What is it, Brian?
Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola.
One love. Love is love.
Yes. This is the gay Coke ads showing people enjoying Coca-Cola.
Yeah, and themselves and each other.
Yeah, they happen to be queer and enjoying Coca-Cola.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know of a brand more ubiquitous than Coca-Cola. It's the most recognizable thing on the entire planet.
Mm-hmm.
If they were worried about a backlash, Coke would be the one worried about it.
Yeah.
And they're like, we don't care, Ted
Mm-hmm.
Cruz or Marjorie or any of you. Like, I dare them to try to boycott Coke. How would they even do that?
I don't know. I mean, mind you, your only other options are either go to Pepsi, which you probably don't like anyway,
which also has a pride
section. Yes. So unless you go to those store brands,
RC
or Tab or whatever. So
Tab's Coca-Cola. That's the problem. Is that like Coke owns a million brands. It's not just Coke and Sprite and Diet Coke. It's so many things.
Yeah.
It's even like Powerade and like stuff you don't even know. All kinds of iced teas are Coke products. Like, it's just nuts.
If you ever go to, I recommend this, if you ever go to Atlanta, Georgia, because
go to Coke World. Yeah.
Go to Coke World. And I mean, talk about, they have that room where you can taste all the international Coke
it's
drinks.
So good.
Yes. So some good, majority are good. There are some that are kind of like, dude, you need to go back to the factory with that one.
Yeah. So, you wonder, like, why are people in Czech Republic drinking this? It tastes terrible.
Yes.
Like, the Soviet Union's gone, guys. You can have regular Coke now.
Yes.
But yeah, World of Coke is one of my favorite places to go because you get to taste all this stuff from all over. And you think you know what Coke tastes like. It does not taste the same everywhere in the world.
No.
And it's pretty interesting, actually. And you can kind of mix and match them, like, make your own.
either A, you'll get a sugar rush, or B, you become an instant diabetic. So it's like one or the other.
Yeah, they have like all these recovery couches for all the diabetics.
Yes.
I can't see. Yeah. Have a Coke. Have a Coke and a smile and shut the fuck up. Right? God damn. I do like the Coke World. Also, they have the polar bears, and they have. I mean, it's like all of the iconic Coke branding, and it's in downtown Atlanta. It's right next to the aquarium. It's a very cool sort of place to go. But it's also right across from the Chick-fil-A College Football Hall of Fame. So if you are really that anti-gay that you want to like not experience Coca-Cola, you can go across to the Chick-fil-A. Except if you go to Chick-fil-A, they have Coca-Cola.
Yes.
So, like, sorry, Margie.
Yes.
You think Margie drinks Coke? She's got to drink Coke, right? She represents.
No. Actually, she seems like a good beer drinker. So
yeah, well, not Bud Light apparently.
Not Bud Light anymore, but I feel like they, based off of this tweet, she didn't like Bud Light. But then again, figured a lot that I feel that the MAGA people will disapprove Coors Light, but Marjorie kind of feels like so she tweeted this about a couple weeks ago stating, "I would love to have bought the King of Beers, but it changed to the gender to the Queen of Beers, so it made to chill from the here on out." I was like, okay, but not knowing the fact that Coors is also refreshingly proud.
I know that the Proud Boys love the Coors Light because they like the red letters or something. They have some sort of like weird affinity for this. But right, again, it's a big corporation that wants to sell product. Why on God's green earth would they not sell it to everybody?
Right.
Poor Margie. What is she gonna drink?
Probably water.
Water is gay. Queer people drink water. It's true.
True. But yeah, Aquafina is by Coke. So
right. Or Dasani is Coke. Aquafina is
Dasani is Coke. Yeah. Aquafina is Pepsi. Yeah, that's right.
So she'll have to drink the water out of her well that she carefully inspects the genitalia of all of the animals on her property. to make sure that none of them are like into other things or something. Why do they care? Why?
I don't know.
What the fuck? Could this possibly matter any less?
That's your modern day Republican, ladies and gentlemen.
Also, it's important to know that her big slander against Lindsey Graham is that he drinks queer beer when everybody knows that he's gay. And like, does she not know? Is she the only person in Washington who doesn't know that Lindsey Graham is gay?
Probably.
Like, aha, I got him drinking that queer beer. And Lindsey's like, oh, good Lord, not me. You dummy. All right, you want to take a break?
Sure.
All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to do some interesting news things, and we'll see what else we can figure out to make fun of. You're listening to Chip Chat here on Beltway Radio and beyond.
Sweeps?
At first it was just white Christian male landowners who made the choice. By 1856, white men everywhere finally had a voice. In 1870, after a 500,000 died, men of color could vote. No, I just lied. Cause the 15th Amendment was a joke. You know, it was totally jive. For another 95 years until 1965. Then in 1920, Susan B's dream finally came to be. But in 2016, it was a bunch of morons who voted for the presidency.
All right, welcome back to Chip Chat here on Beltway Radio and beyond. I'm your host, Chip. With me tonight is Brian. Say hi, Brian.
Hi, Brian.
There you go. Can't miss. So now we've come to the part of the show called the Rundown. This is where I tell you about some stuff that's going on in the news. Big news. Fox settled with Dominion. Now, what does anybody need to know about this? Dominion is a company that makes voting equipment. They sued Fox News because Fox News was telling everybody that Dominion rigged the election for Joe Biden, even though Fox News definitely knew that was untrue. And there was a lot of interesting discovery that came out of this, where it turned out that Tucker thinks Trump's in demonic force and hates him. Ingram doesn't like him. Hannity, it seems, doesn't like Trump either. We also learned that the Fox people are terrified of their own viewers.
Mm-hmm.
They're worried that they have created a monster that they can no longer control, which is true. And so we were all kind of looking forward to this trial. I was. Were you looking forward to the trial?
It would have been some good entertainment. I mean, getting some good sound bites out of that. It would have been interesting to hear.
Yeah, it would have been great for this show.
Yeah.
But instead, what happened was they reached a settlement at the last second for nearly $780 million. Yep. Is that right? No, $790 million.
Sure.
It's a lot of money. It is not the $1.6 billion that Dominion wanted, but sort of the bigger problem with this settlement here is that Fox doesn't have to admit to anything. They
No.
did issue some statement that said, we acknowledge the court's ruling finding certain claims about Dominion to be false. This statement reflects Fox's continued commitment to the highest journalistic standards.
Highest journalistic standards. Okay.
If you want to have a really good time, there is a clip of Jake Tapper of CNN reading that exact statement and laughing at that exact part. Because, of course,
he knows it's complete BS. Yes.
Yeah. So but what they didn't have to do is face a jury, and they didn't have to apologize on air, which seems dissatisfying. Now, all of the late night comedy shows this week have done something where they cut up Fox people saying a version of, I'm sorry, and like made a mashup of it. Colbert's got it. Daily Show's got it. They're all basically the same idea. It's pretty funny, but it's dissatisfying because we all wanted to see this. Mm-hmm. And if I was Dominion, I would have taken a much lower payout in exchange for like some requirement that they read something every half an hour telling their viewers about this. Because the reality is a lot of Fox viewers don't know that this lawsuit even happened, and they won't know because they aren't going to talk about it on their network.
Right. Well, unless let's say this, I think with this settlement, the only person I felt that was able to be protected from it was Rupert Murdoch. He's the only one I felt like who I felt like I can picture it in my mind of him during that last minute hours, like where they were preparing for trial, and he decided it's like he ended up calling his bank manager or whatever and said, "Hey, do I got enough to settle this?" And he's like, "Yeah." It's like, "All right, cool. Here."
Apparently, they called this guy who's like a sort of famous negotiator who was on vacation in Europe, floating down the Danube River, and while he was on vacation, he basically negotiated out the settlement with the two sides over the span of like 18 hours or something like that. Yeah. But yeah, it's true that Fox did not, because one of the people who would have had to testify would have been Murdoch, who's 92, by the way. He's not like in great shape. And we know from the depositions, he's a little bit likely to say things that are pretty damaging. So they really didn't, to himself. So they really didn't want to put him on the stand. They also really didn't want the like parade of Tucker and Hannity and Ingram and all of them getting put up on the stand and then being forced to confirm the stuff that we already saw in all the depositions. And Dominion gave this sort of like wishy-washy kind of deal about why didn't they go for an apology? And they're like, look, we got a big pile of money. Like, that's basically an apology. No, it's not.
No, it's not.
However, this is not the only lawsuit. Mm-hmm. Dominion is also suing Rudy, who, remember, likes to do drag with Donald Trump fondling him. Mm-hmm. That's a real thing. You can go watch the clips of it. They're suing Sidney Powell, also for $1.3 billion. They're suing Mike Lindell for a similar amount. Mm-hmm. That's just three more that they're suing. Smartmatic, which is another voting machine company that Fox slandered, is suing Fox for $2 billion. That still is moving forward. And there was a bit of movement on the Mike Lindell front actually today. Yeah. I don't know if you saw this.
Yeah, I saw.
Yeah. So in all of his antics, one of the things that Lindell has done is he's challenged somebody to prove him wrong and say that his data is bullshit. And he said that he would give somebody $5 million that prove if they could prove him wrong. So this data scientist guy, whose name I think is Zeidman, something like that, took the data that Lindell was offering people to check out And he went through it and he's like, yeah, this is not the 2020 election data. I don't know what this is, but it's not that. And he's like, give me my money. And Lindell was like, I'm not going to give him the money. So they went to an arbitrator, and the arbitrator was like, yeah, you got to give him the money, dude. That's 100%. He proved this beyond a shadow of a doubt. You're full of shit. Give him the $5 million. And Lindell's like, I don't have $5 million. We know, but you said this thing anyway. So like, whatever. And I don't know, like, again, there's this problem where, like, because the Fox people don't get real news, they won't know that this happened. But OAN is also getting sued by Dominion. Newsmax is also getting sued by Dominion. And while their viewers won't know that that's happening, they don't have $800 million to settle out with. And if this is the threshold where the judge didn't even, was like, you're not even going to have to prove whether they lied or not. I'm going to stipulate that they're lying. What the jury would have to determine is, did they lie with like malicious intent or reckless abandon, essentially.
Right.
And so, like, the establishment of the facts are no longer at issue here. It seems like Dominion now is just going to be able to line up all the other defendants, Rudy et al., and just be like, all right, we want $800 million. Well, we're going through with this. We're going to put all of your shit on the stand and make you have to talk about it. What do you think Rudy's going to do?
For starters, he's going to be sweating so much that he'll have that extra drip. Secondly, I think he's going to settle.
How much money? I mean, he doesn't have any money.
I know he doesn't. That's the thing. And I think
neither does Trump, who's also being sued.
Yeah, again, that's the thing. I viewed it at a point where it's like, I mean, you pretty much put this whole Trump saga into a corner by not proving the fact that, like, they falsified the information. It's Fox News really was so stupid. You know, like I said, when Sam Shepard was on there, he was their fact checker. That was the one.
Shep knew, and he was like, I got to get out of here.
Yeah, so it was smart. I mean, it was. I felt like he was good enough to be on there, at least to be that guy to give you some sense of, like, hey, folks, this is bullshit. But then when it got to the point where it's like, no, when Rupert Murdoch just kept pushing that narrative, and especially during the election, Sam was like, I'm out. I can't. And I get it. His integrity, his journalistic integrity was being tarnished just being on that network.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can tell everybody else there didn't give a shit. They were getting paid. People were watching them and all that stuff.
They were worried if they didn't lie that they were going to lose money. Like Tucker was out there talking about if we tell the truth, it's going to hurt the stock price.
Right. So again, it's all it's about the stock prices. It felt like, we're providing them. You're not providing them news. You're providing them information that really was not beneficial for everybody.
Well, and the viewers wanted to hear this false version of reality.
They want an alternative news. That's what you got. Alternative news.
Yeah. And the problem is that I don't have a problem fleecing and swindling Fox viewers. They are, as far as I'm concerned, not worthy of sort of general safety and protection. They have made their choice, and they will reap the benefits or failures thereof. But this also damaged the real world, and so now we've got the poll workers from Georgia who are now suing Rudy and some of these other folks. They've proved standing in court that these guys lied about about the election, and that it put their lives in danger. So they're suing for like $250 million. And it's hard to see how eventually this doesn't all kind of clean up all of this stuff. Like, what I can't understand is how these people who were smart enough to text each other, "This is bullshit," weren't smart enough to realize that this circus is not going to continue forever.
Right.
Eventually, it's going to run out.
Because they're not journalists. They're not newsmakers. I am part of the era of, I remember Walter Cronkite's last broadcast.
Yeah.
I mean, not many people can say that.
I understand, but like, I'm not saying that Tucker is a newsman.
He's not.
I'm saying
these are opinionators. These are not. They're not there. It's their opinion, how they feel. They felt, from.
But it's not even that, because it's apparently it's this set of things that they want, that their viewers will tune in for.
Right. Yeah,
that they don't even believe.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, if Tucker's smart enough to know that Trump is bad for the country, which he apparently was smart enough to know because he was texting as much to Laura Ingraham, why is he stupid enough to think that this wouldn't eventually catch up? Like, eventually this curse will be broken. The people of the country will wake up and be like, what the fuck were we doing for the last however long? And it's all there's gonna be a reckoning at some point, financial or otherwise. Right. And why didn't he think that this was that even if you want there to be like a white supremacist ethno state, like at some point you go, I don't think this is mechanically going to work out. I need to get the fuck away from it.
Right. I look at it like this. I'm going to throw in a little geekdom in here. Every Marvel Cinematic Universe has been dominating for almost 20 years now. And then finally, DC, Warner, or Discovery Warner, is finally trying to catch up and doing their own universe. They tried the Snyderverse, didn't work. So now they're trying this. And they feel like, okay, this is our way to catch up. Even though you know full well you shouldn't be doing this. Just be on your own, do your thing, and settle like that. But no, you want to try to catch up, go right ahead.
They're going to burn $1 billion trying to be Marvel, and they're not
trying to do that. So that's what Fox News is doing. It's finally got to the point where it's like, you try to create this weird universe for everyone to love, and thinking the fact that it's like, okay, this will be our thing. And in the end, it's like everybody else is so far ahead to realizing the fact that you are full of shit. And it's like, I mean, we know this is some crap. And
eventually they have to operate in the real world. Like they can't continue to like make up these set of grievances to avoid going to Dunkin' Donuts. Like they are gonna have to buy coffee one day. They're gonna use a Visa credit card. They're gonna buy something on Amazon. Like they are in the world.
You have to realize the fact that outside of this alternative universe you've been living in, you have to deal with the real world. And the unfortunate thing is, the other thing that I think we missed out on is for these quote unquote reporters, and I'm using them very bigly, are not dealing with the consequences of what they've done. They can sit there and apologize on their show and say, and whatever, they say on the teleprompter, but in full honesty and reality is like, I would have loved to see you sitting on that stand and explain yourself that for almost 2 years, you were bullshitting your way to get some nutgut job onto a seat that he really did not deserve to have.
Well, and that their actions caused real harm.
A lot of harm, a lot of damage. And again,
the judge
and on top of that, let's add on the top of the J6 stuff.
Yeah.
Adding the fact that you've been sympathizing for those people because you were protecting some guy who didn't deserve that job.
Who you didn't like.
That you didn't like.
There's several lawsuits pending from some of the cops who got hurt at January 6th. The judge ruled that they do have standing to sue Trump himself. And that's moving forward. They are all also suing Rudy and all these other guys because at the root of it, they are responsible. They whipped up the mob that caused people to die. And it's a problem when people like Tucker aren't having to allocate to that. They're not having to admit to this, and they're not taking any of the blame. I mean, in a perfect world, they would be criminally responsible.
Yes. You started a riot.
And they might still be. I mean, we're still waiting to see what happens with that. Yeah. Speaking of Republicans being who they say they are, because Fox is part of this like Republican Truman Show where they have this whole universe that isn't really happening, but they do interact with the real universe because they are trying to like recruit people to get them to join. So one of the things that they do is they try to recruit, and Paul Gosar, who is a congressman from Arizona whose mom ran campaign ads against him. That's true. He publishes this newsletter from his house.gov email address that it goes out every week. I'm just going to read this actual quote here. Representative Paul Gosar used his house.gov newsletter to direct people to a story posted on a Holocaust-denying website that praised him for attacking, quote, Jewish warmongers for their support of Ukraine. Gosar was promoting Veterans Today, an anti-Semitic site that has called the Holocaust a lie and a hoax and praised Hitler as a great man and a man of valor. So he links to this story. Now, he edited like stuff on this because he knew that the story was bad. You know, it was a bad headline. He releases this weekly newsletter. He sent out the actual Veterans Today headline was who really wanted oh no, that's a different one. I'm sorry. The actual headline was Congressman, Jewish warmongers Newland and Blinken are dangerous fools who can get us killed. But Gosar's newsletter omitted the word Jewish before warmongers in its link description because he knew that would get him in trouble. But he linked to it anyway, and he sent this out to everybody from his house.gov. So some of the reporters who caught wind of this, they asked Gosar's campaign about this, and they responded to this story that we're reading, which was first reported by Media Matters, by blaming, quote, a third-party aggregating service for our headlines, and then claimed that the Veterans Today article was updated on April 17th after the newsletter was released. Our staff is currently investigating to see if the title was changed after the newsletter was released. Well, as it turns out, the Media Matters folks also checked that. The cleanup attempt by Team Gosar is inaccurate. The title was not updated on April 17th, quote, after the newsletter was released. An Internet Archive snapshot of the page. Again, you idiots, you know people can check this stuff. Shows that Veterans Today article carried the Jewish warmonger headline since February 26th, the day that it was posted. They can't even like clean up their own errors without lying about it.
No.
So when people like me say that the Republicans are anti-Semites, that they are a bunch of white supremacist, Christo, ethno-nationalist fascists, I'm not making this up. They're out there promoting this stuff on their own, unprompted. Nobody was like, hey, Paul Gosar, what do you think about this website? Do you think you should give it a ring or nothing? He just was like, yeah, let's send out this newsletter with the link to these fucking Holocaust deniers. He didn't have to do that. He could have done nothing. He could have literally done nothing and been better off. Again, this green clip, you know, they are who we thought they were.
Yeah.
Like
these guys, I went to when trying to prepare for the show with the graphics and stuff, and some of the things on Veterans Today, I mean, it's a sad, deplorable attachment for the word veterans to be used in this way, because no veteran, no U.S. veteran, and especially around World War II time, will allow itself to be attached to Hitler and the Nazi Party. It just no way. And
do they not know who we were fighting in that war?
Yes.
Like what side of the war were we on?
Yeah. So I mean, I just feel that I don't know who these people are. I don't know why they, mind you, we understand why they exist because of and allowed to promote their weirdness. But honestly, it's just like, dude, you supposed to represent your state.
Yeah.
You don't represent a I don't know what you want to call this. To be honest,
why would they choose this thing? Like, why of all the stuff, like today, you know, there's this discussion about the debt ceiling. Kevin McCarthy released his quote unquote plan to deal with this, which is to cut food stamps until it pays off the debt, which is not how it's going to work. But like, they're objectively anti-human in so many other ways. They don't have to add these obvious self-inflicted errors all the time, but they keep doing it.
Yeah, because they again, I don't know who they try to affiliate themselves with. I mean, mind you, they represent a state to the point where it's like by the time they get here to Washington, that representation is gone.
Yeah,
they're
not
pretty much
really
representing themselves.
Representing the people of Arizona.
Marjorie Greene is the perfect example. She went from Marjorie Greene to now MTG. She's become this, you know, abbreviation. Mind you, someone on the other side was like, well, same with AOC, because no one could barely pronounce her last name, so we made it simple for everybody. There's a difference. Marjorie Greene is not that hard to pronounce.
No, but also, like, Margie isn't out there really representing Western Georgia. She's out here as a national figure trying to bilk money out of dumb old men.
Right. These people have lacked the intelligence and somehow connected those who have that same intelligence, which is, it's sad to say. And to the point where it's like you figure it's like, hey, I'm going to be in this seat. I'll be here for 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, 8 years, 12 years. Again, I have a problem with that, with those in Congress longer than 10. But the thing is the fact that this is the sad part of America today. I mean, and it's unfortunate the fact that it's like you got someone who's supposed to represent a free state is connecting themselves to a time where no one was free.
Yeah, I don't understand why they would choose it. But again, he's doing is he's trying to recruit other people to his cause. So it means that he's a true believer in this. Yeah, I don't know why.
Cause, pretty much.
Yes, exactly. Are there? Does Paul Gosar think that there are a bunch of secretly sympathetic Nazi sympathizers out there who just needed a newsletter from him to all of a sudden fly their swastika flags on their front lawns? Like, I don't know what he thought was going to happen, but this is what's happening. Speaking of which, if you know anything about the January 6th attack, you know that there's this guy who's sort of like a central figure in all this. His name is Ali Alexander, who is a confusing individual, to say the least.
He reminds me of, he could portray Gomez Adams' second cousin.
Yeah, except his real name is Ali Akbar. He changed it back in 2007 or 2008. It's weird that he's a Arab white supremacist, but in any case, or maybe South Asian, doesn't matter. He's not white, and here he is out here like repping for him. But what else is Ali Alexander doing when he isn't trying to unmake democracy, Brian?
Oh, well, let's say he's asking some teen boys for some dick pics, maybe here and
That's
there.
exactly what happened. Yes. Back in 2017, Aiden Duncan, who was at the time 15 years old, was in Colorado. He was interested in right-wing politics, and Ali Alexander asked him for nude photos, which he sent to him, and then there was more stuff that happened. Now, like I said, he's an interesting figure. It's hard to understand. He's admitted that he's bisexual, but he says he's fighting it. Part of the reason we know about this is that Milo Yiannopoulos, who is also gay but somehow hates gay people as a right-wing provocateur, like outed these Ali Alexander's story about the dick pics. they're fighting with each other about this. He's trying to pray the gay away or something. It is really hard to understand the mental gymnastics involved. Like, I understand Paul Gosar is a white supremacist asshole because he is a old white man. That fits. Well, what the hell is this 30-something-year-old who is like, what does he think is going to happen?
I mean, think about what we've been through. A lot of things have been revealing. You know, we're exposed. The people are exposing. These Republican people are exposing themselves in so many ways. You know, they try to hide who they are. They're trying to hide who they fully believe that themselves, so that they can tell their constituents that, hey, you know, let's do this for this person. Let's support the. And again, everything's for the party. And the thing is like, look, you're an idiot. You're stupid. You're doing crazy things. I mean, mind you, is especially for someone like him. I mean, mind you, I'm going to show the picture again. This guy looks like, you know, something out of a cartoon. I mean, just by the way he looks. But, you know, but I feel like I just don't understand that these people continue
what does he
to have.
think is going to happen if a bunch of white redneck gun-toting people who claim to want to be able to hunt gay people and pedophiles who they think are the same class of people openly, what does he think they're going to do with him, the gay brown man who wants dick pics from 15-year-olds? They're going to kill him.
Right.
Why is he trying to help them do that?
I don't know. Again, it's like a criminal, you know, recording themselves, you know, doing the crime. That's pretty much what it is.
It would be like a bunch of blue crabs going to work for Old Bay.
Yes.
Like, why would you do that? You know what we're gonna do with the Old Bay once we catch you. We're gonna fucking cook you and eat you. That's what we do with it. Like,
just helping the process, just speed it up.
Yeah. Why would you do that? It'd be like a cow going to work for Burger King. Like,
yes.
Again, we know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Delicious.
I want to die my way. There it is.
That's right. Yeah. Have it your way.
Yeah.
That was my friend. Okay. Speaking of meatballs, Meatball Ron. So how we'll round out this section of Republicans who are exactly who we thought they are. Now, he's going to show up later in the show because there is some more stuff about him. But his major donor, who basically catapulted him from being this backwater congressman from Florida into being a governor of Florida, is a guy named Kent Sturman. And what happened to him in December?
Unfortunately, he committed suicide.
He did. He died of his own hand because he got caught doing what?
Oh, wow. I believe, let's see, what did he do? Oh, damn. Shortly after the girl's father turned down a 5-figure sum in hush money, pretty much he was trying to get a teenager, I believe.
He was having inappropriate relationship with an underage teen, and he was doing it by luring her in with the prospect of Taylor Swift tickets.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, I'll give you these Taylor Swift tickets if you show me your boobs. And then she did, and then he didn't give her the tickets.
Oh, damn.
And a bunch of other stuff. So the girl told her boyfriend and her family, and then Sturman tried to buy them off, which again, why would anybody think that would work? Yeah, I'll take the money and then I'm gonna tell everybody what happened. And so then he realized that he was dead to right, and then he decided to become dead to right. So he couldn't hit. But this is how we end up with Ron DeSantis. Like, this kind of person is responsible for Meatball Ron. It fits so perfectly.
Yeah.
You know, if Matt Gaetz is out here Venmoing teenagers for sex. This guy was out here, like, it sounds like a Mad Lib. You know, like rich guy offers Taylor Swift tickets to see boobies of teenager.
Mm-hmm.
Why? And then he only offered a 5-figure like hush money thing. Doesn't he know from Trump that it costs $130,000 to get somebody to shut up? Like,
well, I just wanted to see some tits. I didn't even get.
Yeah, he didn't do the whole thing, so he doesn't have to pay the full $130,000. Right. It's just like they're telling on themselves. They're out here so mad about quote unquote grooming, and here is exactly that. It's exactly that. Mm-hmm. Every accusation is an admission. They are exactly who we thought they are. And how they're still a viable political party, I really don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I really don't know. All right, tell you what, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about some more also right-wing conservative white supremacists, this time in Oklahoma, and a bunch of other stuff on the third half of the show. You're listening to Chip Chat here on Beltway Radio and beyond.
Street balls.
When your eyes burn, you watch what you putting out. I came in the game, no pulling out. That's a whole lot of glory with no knocks. What a shame, like a Jewish deli with no locks. I dream of using gold blocks for roadblocks and really replace these artists with robots. That's the key, but no box. A chapel in prison with no locks. Why your face screwed up and salty? Egos brittle, they crack like saltines. Had to call your dogs, they Maltese. Couldn't finish the job, they all tease. I'm a bet that got no bugs, I don't bite. Rule numero uno, but y'all don't write. It's funny to me, it's no joke. Sweet like honey to bees, but with no smoke. That's the way it had to be. That's the way it had to be. See, I'm a bully and a Wall Street wolf, and this like money to me. Ride the wave. I'm a son of the seas. I was sick out the womb like unwanted disease. Please, and sorry like the son of Aziz. Captain of the ship, it's like I'm one with the breeze. Make something out of nothing like sun on the leaves. Everything I touch is like 100 degrees. All my bills paid off like the money was greased. Imagine there was 100 of me's. Thought it was just us, and I took one of their knees. Not mad at a good thing, I took the whole lane up. Fasten your seatbelt, I shook the whole.
All right, welcome back to Chip Chat here on Beltway Radio and beyond. I am your host, Chip. With me tonight is Brian. Say hi to the people, Brian. Oh, he's muted. He's his own engineer, and he's muted. Hi
to the people, Brian. Hi.
There you go. All right. So now follow me on a journey, if you will, to Oklahoma, a state so square it has 6 corners. It's true. Oklahoma, it's Oklahoma. You know what you're getting when you're in Oklahoma. So there is a part of Oklahoma called McCurtain County. Already sounds like it's going very well. where there is one newspaper that is staffed by this guy and his son and maybe like 3 other people, and they were a little concerned that the county officials, you know, the board and the sheriff and all that, might be doing county business not during a meeting. So if you think about it, like nowhere in America is a county board allowed to meet off camera, you know, without being in public, right? Because it's all, they're doing the public's business and all that stuff. So the reporter, whose name is
I think it was Wellington.
Yeah, Wellington. There you go. Willingham. There you go. Okay. He was like, I think something's up. So he checked with his lawyers and he's like, I want to leave a recorder in the room after the meetings. And then we'll see like if they are, you know, approving building permits or something after the meeting. And that's legal. It was legal for various reasons. And so what he thought he was going to catch was like these guys doing shady, like boring shit, you know, like raising parking fines when people weren't looking or whatever.
Yeah.
That's
something
not
something I felt like, you know, we've always thought that police officers would do is like raising, like you said, raising the parking fees and all that stuff. Yeah.
Corrupt, but not like dangerous. Exactly. Yeah. That's not what he heard at all when he went and recovered the recorder. Actually, he heard them doing what?
Actually, let them explain it.
Oh, we've got the audio.
Oh, we got some audio. So
okay,
here we go.
Let's hear it.
Yes.
They bring
Don't say this, you know.
What
goes around. It will. I told you it will. Yeah. I know where 2 big deep holes are if you ever need them. I got an excavator. These are already pre-dug.
I know where 2 big deep holes are if you ever need
dug
them.
holes.
Well, I've got an excavator. Well, these are.
I mean, and of course there's more. I mean, you got it. You can't go wrong with more. So.
The thing of it is, you know.
We actually told the truth.
I've known 2 or 3 hitmen that are very quiet guys.
Yeah.
And would cut no mercy.
Yeah.
In Louisiana, because it's all mafia around Louisiana.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but here's the reality. If a hair on his wife's head, Chris Willingham's head, or any of those people that really were behind all that, if the hair on their head got touched by anybody, who would be the bad guy?
Who'd you blame for?
Yeah.
All right, these people are stupid. So stupid. So stupid.
So they were actively plotting to murder the guy who left the recorder.
Yeah.
And his son, the other reporter.
Mm.
And like, we know a hitman. We've got holes already dug. And that sounds like that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
You know, and their beef with them is that these guys are reporters and keep like asking them questions about stuff that is actually happening. And then they just decide to, from there, slide into like some casual lynching conversations.
Mm-hmm.
They went. Now the reporters that they're threatening to kill are white, but then they moved on somehow to, I don't know what to call this.
Let's see. Well, let me hear it.
They don't have a goddamn clue what they're getting into.
Oh, yeah,
Not
because
this day and age.
but everybody.
I'm gonna tell you something. If we back in the day, when Alan Marshall take a damn blackjack, whoop their ass, and throw them in the cell, I'd run the chair. Yeah. Well, it's not like that no more. I know. Take them down here on Mud Creek and hang them up with the damn rope. Yeah. But you can't do that. Thing about it, they got more rights than we got.
So what I think he's saying is it's hard. It's a hard job being a sheriff because you can't lynch people now. Is that what he's saying?
Pretty much.
Because like if it was that easy when you could just go back to lynching people, even he would do the job.
Mm-hmm.
Why were they?
Hmm.
How many black folks live in McCurtain County, Oklahoma?
Let's find out. Do a Google search.
It can't.
It's
Why
not a
is
lot. I know that for a fact.
why is that the direction are okay? White people, join me over here at this camera. Are you able to just not do that? Like, can you be awful and not racist? Or is that the thing where like you start being awful and you go, well, we better sprinkle some racism into this or it won't be fun anymore.
Okay.
Because they got more rights than we got or whatever.
Yeah. They have less than 2,600 black people
In the whole county.
in the whole county.
Yeah. So like obviously not the main issue. 2,600. Jesus. I think I know more than that. Like I have more Facebook friends than there are black folks in McCurtain County, Oklahoma. Okay.
This is once again, they are fed a narrative that is totally untrue. They're relying on things that, I mean, mind you, I don't know how their county is that deprived. If you feel like you're being subjugated to, comparing to, let's say, DC itself, I would understand your complaint. But here it's like 2,600 people. You're complaining about 2,600 people.
You're mad that you can't lynch 2,600 people.
I do not understand that.
So after they got done doing a racism, the governor found out about this. He called for them to resign. Everybody else called for these guys to resign. But they haven't yet, as far as I know.
No, actually, they have. They have.
Oh, they have?
They have.
It's breaking tonight?
Yeah.
Their initial response to this was to claim that the recordings were made illegally and to fight about that. The sheriff himself said that his solution to this was to like crack down on anybody who was leaking and telling anybody about it. It's just in an effort to plug the leak. Sheriff Clardy threatened to fire any of his employees who spoke to the reporters. William and Manning told deputies that she would get search warrants for their cell phones if they talked. Like, you already got caught dead to right, and then you're gonna threaten your employees and be like, "It was you." No, it wasn't them, idiots. It was you. It was your voices on the recording. Okay, way to go, Oklahoma. So they have resigned.
Yeah, based what I read, about 4 or 5 hours ago, they officially resigned.
Interesting. I'm sure they'll all have jobs soon.
Probably at a Walmart.
But not in June.
Yeah, June.
Yeah, they have to take the whole month of June off.
Yes.
They can't lynch anybody at the Walmart. Could be mad about that. All right, let's move on to slightly sunnier ideas. Here's an interesting bit of cool technology that was going to be the TES Talk this week. But we've talked about a little bit on this show, but one of the issues here is that there's a lot of renewable energy that's available, but it's difficult to store. And there are batteries, big chemical batteries, lithium batteries, and other such ways. But there's a pretty hard cap on how much electricity you can safely store in batteries. So a lot of other ideas are being floated as ways to store electricity. Because if you think about it, like during the time the sun is shining, you can make a bajillion more gigawatts of power than you need. But if you don't have it available at night, it's not so helpful.
Right.
So how do you store solar energy for times when the sun isn't shining, like at nighttime when you need electricity? So some ideas people have floated are things like flywheels. You get something big and heavy spinning, and then use the motor during the time that you have power to spin it up, and then at night you basically use that rotation to run the generator to get the electricity back that you use to spin them up. That's one idea. Another one that you see people talking about is gravity batteries. And these can take a number of forms. If you've got the room, ponds, water, you have a pump that runs during the day, pumping water from a lower pond up to a higher pond. And then at night, you let the water run back down the pipe and turn the pump the other direction, which makes it a generator. Another one that you see sometimes is locomotives, trains. You have a locomotive running on solar power that pulls a heavy car of weights or stones or something up an incline, and then at night you have it slowly descend the incline and have the magnetic resistance of its generator push back against the weight, and that's how you could get the power out. Well, there's another idea that's sort of similar to this, and it's I think maybe this is, I don't know, where was it, Scotland or someplace like that. They've come up with this idea of using basically an elevator. So instead of needing to have like a pond or a place to run railroad track or something like that, you could make this thing that has a pretty small footprint. It's just a tower, and it has a big motor and a winch, and it lifts a heavy weight, apparently a 50-ton iron weight suspended by steel cables. So you lift it with renewable power, whether that's wind or solar or wave or whatever. And then at night, it descends, and the resistance of the generator keeps it from descending very quickly, and you recapture all that power. So you use however many kilowatts to lift it, and you get those kilowatts back as it descends. Batteries made of gravity. It's a pretty good idea, and it might be one of the ways that we can get over this problem of renewables not being always on, as they say.
Right.
And
I would feel, mind you, it seems like what was said here, it doesn't seem like space heavy, meaning the fact of like
it doesn't take up a lot of room. It's one extra elevator shaft per building. Essentially.
Yeah. So I feel like, and especially if you, with some of the newer thought apartments and things of that nature, if you're wanting to try to have it self-contained renewable energy, it seems suffice. So
imagine if you have a building which is covered in solar panels, and during the day it's lifting this shaft and this weight up the shaft, and then at night it's descending. The building could run entirely independently of the grid.
Right.
And that's part of the idea. It's not loud or obnoxious. It doesn't require a lot of space, and it could be really critical. It also, from an engineering perspective, one of the big problems with electricity is you can't have like extra in the wires. It's not like water where if like it's got a lot of extra pressure, you can just kind of let some of it off. So what is produced has to match the demand nearly exactly, or it can cause big problems. Stuff flies and wires burn. So having these kind of basically buffers built into the system, if you had an inrush or you had a lot of extra supply of current, you could buffer it by absorbing some of it by lifting the weight. And if you had a situation where the demand suddenly outpaced the supply, where you would normally say ramp up a coal plant or ramp up a gas plant, you can just let the weight down a little bit faster and recoup some of that. So it would help to smooth out the fluctuations in the grid as well. It's got a lot of advantages. I would love to see more of this. And I think, considering the phrase coastal West Virginia is about to be a very common one, we need to move as quickly as possible on this. Yeah. Joe Manchin can finally park his yacht.
Yes.
At home. All right. Speaking of states that are about to be washed off the map, Florida, also Wisconsin for some reason, which is fine. I don't need Wisconsin either. Brian, I am not the expert on this, but fortunately you're here.
Yes.
What the hell is going on with these idiots?
To me, once again, proves the fact that Mr. DeSantis wants to de-educate an entire state. And in addition to adding Wisconsin into that mix. Here's what's the deal is. So apparently, I'm a fan of anime. Like I said earlier, I gave you a little geekdom. Gonna give you a little bit more.
Okay.
So apparently, Wisconsin and Florida has decided to take away this famed anime and manga called Assassination Classroom, claiming the fact that will entice students to murder their teachers.
Okay, so wait a minute. What you have to explain what a anime and a manga are for? It's like a comic book essentially.
So yes, anime and manga. These are Japanese names where manga is the Japanese name for pretty much their comic books. Anime is their cartoons.
Okay.
So Assassination Classroom. It's one of the. It came out. I forgot. Early 2020s. And it's a popular manga and anime. I finished the anime. I never read the book because once you see the anime, you don't need to read a book. But then
is it about assassinating teachers, or is that
just
the name?
Here's the deal. Here's what the base of the premise of Assassination Classroom. So apparently, one of these guys. He's pretty much an assassin. Got chemically altered. Became this sort of like ticking time bomb, and he was able to destroy the half of the moon. Okay. So he informed the entire world, you have about 1 year to kill me so I won't kill everybody else. Okay. So then this secret organization was able to talk to some remote school and took all the school's rejects, put them like far away from everybody else to train them so they can end up killing this dude. And this dude ends up becoming their teacher. And he teaches them a whole bunch of assassination techniques. So, and in the end, the whole premise is like these students are trying to kill this dude who's teaching them how to kill him. So that's the whole premise.
And he is like a super villain who is
he's not a villain. No, he's not a villain.
Well, he's afraid of what he'll do to the rest of humanity.
Right.
So he's an altruist. He's a good guy.
Yeah, he is a good guy. So he's just letting people know it's like, hey, if you don't kill me now, I'm gonna destroy everything. So and that's why he has this weird look. He looks like a big, huge octopus with a smiley face and all that stuff.
Because it's Japanese and it has to be weird.
It has to be a little weird. So they do have an episode or some set where he becomes the way he looks. So which is interesting. So this is what I'm getting at. We've gotten to the point where like you ban Catcher in the Rye for whatever reason, and now you're trying to ban an anime manga for whatever reason that you've never read or seen.
Yeah, they just know the title. And
they just know the title. They know that they figure it's like, these students are trying to kill this teacher. Let's ban everything. It's like, read the damn book. Yeah, it is. They do have English, dubs. They do have English words in them, nowadays. You don't have to read the Japanese side, but the thing is like, read it. And so you get an idea where this story is going.
Or you don't even have to read it. You could just like listen to this show and have somebody like Brian explain this to you before you go like crazy. So do you think that Ron DeSantis and these other types, do you think like they think that Lucky Charms are actual rainbows, or like that it's not a marshmallow cereal, but that it's like actual clovers or something?
Well, actually, I recently saw some guy went to the end of the rainbow and didn't see a pot of gold. So pretty much, yeah.
They are that stupid.
Yeah, they are that stupid.
Do they think that To Kill a Mockingbird is about bird genocide?
Probably.
It's.
I mean, you're basing off of a type. It's like they said, it's like don't judge a book by its cover, and that's what you've done. You pretty much either. I mean, you're not allowing those who want to reach and learn and try to educate themselves to the point where it's like, okay, to know their rights and wrongs. You're enforcing everyone to know this is wrong, not knowing if it's right or not.
Well,
that's what I have my problem with.
They're banning comic books, but trying to make sure everybody's got guns. That does seem like a little backwards. Yes. I haven't heard of anybody getting killed by a comic book yet. Certainly not a mass comic book killing.
Even though, well, let's say this, even though they'll either blame a bad comic book, like I remember they had issues with the Punisher a long time ago.
Yeah, or they said that Dungeons and Dragons was causing kids to become devil worshippers.
Yes,
or video games cause wars.
Any video games and all that stuff like GTA or whatever. But the thing is like, look, you don't play these games, you don't read these books, you don't know the adults don't know shit. And it's like, I'm an adult now. I've gotten to the point where it's like, I played these games up to the point where, or read these books up to the point of now. So I understand the factors like what this is.
And you haven't turned into a mass murdering fuckhead, have you?
No.
Somehow well, okay. To be fair, I played a lot of NBA Jam, and then it turned out I can dunk. So it does work that way. Yeah. You want to know what else sucks about Florida?
What?
They are expanding the don't say gay stuff.
Oh, God.
Okay. Here's the thing that, again, I'm a little confused about. Florida Board of Education has forbidden the teaching of gender identity and sexuality throughout all grades in K-12 public schools, extending a nearly year-old legislative ban on such lessons from kindergarten through third grade. Here's what the actual text says. Quote, the teacher shall not intentionally provide classroom instruction on sexual orientation or gender identity unless the instruction is required by state academic standards or the lessons form part of the reproductive health course from which the parents can opt their students out. Florida parents, especially parents of not heteronormative children, I want you to listen clearly to the text of this law and whatever you want to call it, ordinance. They can't provide classroom instruction on sexual orientation or gender identity. Men and women who have children is a sexual orientation
and a gender identity,
and identifying themselves as a husband and wife who are hetero, who have kids. All of those fit in this category. So they don't want kids to know that same-sex couples exist. You can also make a case under the way this thing is written that saying that any kind of couples existing is teaching sexuality and gender identity. If you read a story to the class about a husband and a wife, or like Cinderella getting, falling in love with Prince Charming, that's gender identity and sexual orientation. It's just hetero, and so therefore, like, the default. I really hope that there's an intrepid Florida parent of a queer kid or otherwise who goes and sues the absolute tar out of these guys over this exact thing. My kid came home with a book that described George Washington and his wife. Can you believe it? That was, I didn't want to know that the first president was a hetero. Oh, good God. They're trying to indoctrinate my kids into thinking that hetero is normal. It's right there, guys. I mean, just fucking do it. Jesus Christ.
there. I'm still surprised of a state that has a lot of people who are, in the community, and they could not vote him out. I mean,
you forget to vote.
I mean, unless it's that, then again, you add in the fact of the community, the Cuban community, and again, they somehow think they're all white, which they're really not. It to me, it's just like, look, this guy is making you dumb.
Yeah, he is, but he's picking stupid fights, right? So
it's beyond stupid fights. It is, like I said earlier, like we said a couple months ago, him going after Disney made no sense, and especially the way he did it,
and he got beat. He got beat by Disney because they outmaneuvered him, and then he tried to fix it this week by getting the legislator to pass a new law overriding the covenants and the deeds that Disney set up with the previous board. There's just no way in hell this is going to stand up in court, because it would destroy all of the other contract law that exists in the entire state. It just can't. It can't be that.
Yeah.
But he couldn't write the law to be expressly anti-gay, so they have to say sexuality or gender orientation or gender identity. But they're forgetting that their quote unquote default position is those things. Right. And as far as the law is concerned, as far as a court is concerned, it doesn't matter what you think is normal. It matters what the law says.
Right. Well, I don't think DeSantis is. Remind me here. Has he ever done any form of lawmaking besides being?
Yeah, he was a congressman.
Okay. Okay.
And he's a lawyer by trade. He actually went to Harvard and Yale, of all places. He was a Navy JAG lawyer.
Okay. So this is where I'm going to get at, because the way I'm feeling is like, I think within his mindset, I don't think he believes the fact that, look, all this is bad. All this gay stuff is bad. All this transgender is bad. All of that. The entire LGBT plus community is bad. And I've gotten that sense from the moment he said those things. And I think I believe that from here on out, that's his agenda for his this. Hopefully this is his last term as governor.
Well, but that's going to run for president.
Yeah, but the thing is like, I just believe this is like, if this is your full on platform for your next 3 years as governor, I'm like, dude, you just pretty much killed an entire state. I mean, you made him dumb. You pretty much don't want people to come there to spend their money in, because pretty much you're having a fight with Disney for some dumb reason. And in the end, it's like,
in the state.
Yeah. And it really is just like, I mean, how are you going to get out of this?
I don't know. And also, I don't think he actually believes in any of this. He's a classic example of this elite playing as a populist. He is Ivy League educated. He absolutely knows that this stuff is bullshit. Right. What he's doing is he's trying to get the support of these people, but the math of this doesn't work. There's just simply not enough. And I don't know.
Because the last on Adult Conversation with Sunshine at 7 to 9 every other Thursday, we talked about addiction, and I mentioned the fact of the addiction of a different personality, and this personality that Ron DeSantis created, he loves it, and you can see it every time he's on a camera. The way he speaks, like that press conference he mentioned about changing the roads for Disney and all that stuff. He was loving that shit. Yeah, and honestly, it's like he's addicted to that type of stuff. And the things and as long as he keeps doing the things he's doing, a lot of the quote unquote people who appreciate him doing that keeps it, praising it, he's going to enjoy it more and more and more, even though full well it is wrong. It doesn't make sense, not only logistically but also logically, and in the end, I just feels like that. Like I said, that state's going to kill itself thanks to him.
Yeah. Florida is a disaster hellhole of a state. And
Trump, you're picking the wrong state to go to, man. I'm sorry. Yeah. For the real one, Trump, if you're listening, please don't pick another state. Just, wait, maybe go a little further. Go to the DR. Everyone's been telling you go to DR. Go to the DR.
Just stay safe, buddy. Please don't go to Florida and be like a loud black man, because that's going to get you killed down there for sure. Yeah. Please be safe. We need you around in case I still can't figure out how to run this damn network. But I had on the list here to talk about the guns. I'm a little too heartbroken about some of this stuff to really discuss it, except that we're now reaching this epidemic problem of like kids showing up at the wrong house and getting gunned down, pulling into the wrong driveway and getting gunned down. And I think we got too many guns. I think it's just like if somebody knocking on your door causes you to reach for a gun, that's a problem. Yeah. And here's this young kid, Ralph Yarl, who by all counts is, a wonderful human being. He plays in the band. He's picking up his twin brothers from their friend's house when he gets shot. He's a A student. There's everything about him is like promising. He's not even like a big scary guy. He's kind of a small little kid. And an 85-year-old white guy saw a black dude at his door and shot him through his own door.
Yeah. And then came outside and shot him in the head.
And then shot him again. And then like people have been, sort of upset at the prosecutors in some of this because he didn't charge him with a hate crime. Prosecutor says that actually the hate crime doesn't carry as big a penalty as what he was charged with. So he was going for the bigger score there. I don't see why you don't just add it on. I mean, at this point, how he's getting charged with this assault and not attempted murder seems a little confusing to me. If you shoot somebody twice.
I think the prosecutor will try to, especially, since he went out and tried to shoot and shot him again.
Yeah, that's very definitely attempted murder.
Yeah.
And I don't know, but like then you also have this case in New York where, outside Albany, kids are driving to go pick up their friends or drop them off. I think actually they were going to drop and it's like rural New York. They turned in the wrong driveway. Like
just try to do a U-turn like anyone else. It's like, no one's pulling in. It's just, they go in, come back out and go on. And it's like, who was that? And it's like, oh, someone's just trying to turn around.
Somebody's just turning around. Like that's how that works. And nope, that's not how that worked. Homeowner came out, shot the car. A bunch of, like, you're shooting at a car.
I mean, again, this is, this whole theme of this entire episode, which is surprising, there is a theme to this, and it begins with the whole essence of misinformation or forced information that is totally uninformed.
Well, it's part of the right-wing fake Truman Show universe that they live in, where they are perpetual victims. There's always something dangerous coming to kill them, and that's why they need all these extra guns. The fear is going to turn them gay. Like,
it's constantly force-fed. It's the
cortisol levels of these people must be off the fucking charts. I mean, that they are that worried and scared, stressed all the time. That they're shooting at cars in their driveway
for nothing. You're not even. I mean, normally it's like, hey, you hear a knock on a door. You say, "Who is it?" And someone say, "Hey, so and so here," and it's like, "No, you have the wrong house," and you just let them go away. what in a mindset where you peeking out your window, see someone of a different color, and you end up shooting your door, shooting your gun through the door? It makes no sense. And again, we figure it's like, again, here's how the defense is going to be. It's like they figure it's like, oh, he's old, he's a bit senile, he doesn't know what he's doing, blah blah blah. And it's like, no, if he did not know what he's doing, he wouldn't have gone out to try to finish the job, so to speak, the double tap.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly the problem.
You wouldn't have if the person was old and seen on front the fear for his life, he wouldn't have gotten a damn rifle and tried to do a sniper shot.
Right.
I mean, come on. It makes no sense.
If you live in a world where the amorphous threat of a black man coming to kill you all the time is the thing that you think is likely to happen, and then something that you can misconstrue in your own mind to resemble this thing that you already have falsely convinced yourself is happening, that's the reaction. But it's false.
Yes.
And we are supposed to have accountability where people who make bad decisions that negatively impact other people are held responsible for it. And here, it doesn't look like that's what's happened. But even if he is, like, it's not fixing the societal problem, because we are still that Truman Show is still running.
Yeah.
It's still on 27 hours a day. And these people are living in this terrifying, stress-inducing hellscape that doesn't exist. And part of the problem is when they do bump into the real world, they're so jarred by it that they react negatively and kind of crazy, because it wasn't what they were expecting. They're expecting validation of their bullshit, and then they don't find it, and they go, "What's going on?" And they lose their shit, and they react badly.
Yeah. I'm reminded of, like, whenever conversations about this happen, everyone keeps saying, "Oh, I'm living in the wrong era," and it's like, okay, what era would you want to live in?
When was this ever good?
It's the same. The main question has always been about MAGA. It's like, we want to make America great again. It's like, whenever it was, when was this?
When was it great?
Yeah.
And we know what they mean by that, though. They mean when it was great for white men, and not anybody else. And because they live in this world where, like, that's why you get, oh, well, why does this video game character have to be gay, or why does this video game character have to be a woman? For every woman playing video games for the last 40 years, she's asking the opposite question: why is all of my choices only white men? And there's no character that looks like me. That oblivious attitude is what leads this guy to shoot Ralph Yarl on his own doorstep. That oblivious attitude is what allows Tucker to go out and squeeze money out of these dumb idiots. It's Trump sell these fucking NFTs again. Like, he sold these NFTs. He said he made $100 million. Then his financial disclosure form comes out, and it turns out he made between $10,000 and $1 million. So not very much money. And now he's selling more of them. To who? And
he's got to pay for those legal fees, man.
Yeah, but, like, it doesn't make any money. And, like, who's falling for that? The only people who are falling for that are people who are in that Truman Show. And they're all going to shoot each other to death, I guess. Maybe. Let's hope. I mean, but then there's also, like, other things, like what happened in Dadeville, Alabama, where this is obviously some sort of personal disagreements that may have bubbled over in the Sweet 16 party, where north of 30 people got shot and injured, and 4 people are dead. Like, these kids shouldn't have access to guns. And the reason they have access to the guns is because there's too many guns. They're ubiquitous. They're easy to get a hold of. If you think about anything that used to be a little bit hard to get or illicit, like say marijuana. And then you think about what happens when you make it legal and available. It's no longer difficult to get your hands on.
Mm-hmm.
And now if there's 450 million guns in a country of only 350 million people, there's just so many guns around, anybody can get them. And there's no control over that. And while I don't think marijuana is ever going to kill anybody, guns do all the time.
Yeah.
It's a leading cause of death amongst children.
Yeah.
If you have children, you should be very, very afraid of this.
Yeah.
Sad, sad state. Well, you hear that music, which means we've come to the end of the show. I want to say thank you specifically to Brian and everybody else who helped put this show together. It has been a wild week here at Beltway Radio and beyond, to say the least. But we're getting through it, so that's pretty good. Thanks to our radio partners, Disney, Fox News, CNN, all those guys. Thanks to NOTN for keeping us on for another week, we assume. Thanks to our home on the interwebs, coplaymedia.com. And thanks to our digital media meatball, Isaac Elam. And of course, thanks as always to our family here at Beltway Radio for making us sound as smooth as Clarence Thomas's disclosure forms. All right, Brian, where can everybody follow you? And you've got some episodes coming up.
Tomorrow night will be the premiere episode of Exotica, Ripped in DC, in conjunction with Rip TV. We were at the Exotica DC last year, and it's in honor of their 50th show that's going to start tomorrow.
Oh wow! Okay.
So pretty much it's like, oh, okay, perfect timing. But Exotica DC will be coming back here in December. But I wanted to let people know what you can see at an Exotica show if you ever get the chance, because there's 4 venues to go to, beginning with Chicago this weekend.
Very cool, very cool. And people can follow you on the socials and stuff?
The social will be BTB, the Real Wise One on Instagram. Of course, I used to have, there's another one, but I can't remember. It's been a long day, damn it.
Brian's had a long day. All right, you can find me and the show on Twitter without a blue check mark, just like everybody else.
Yes.
While we're watching Twitter have its unscheduled rapid disassembly, I think is the word that they used to describe Elon's rocket ship blowing up today.
Okay.
It cleared the tower and then blew up.
Yes.
It did several flips first and then it blew up. All right, and you can find me. Yeah, it's a success. They called it a success. Of course they did. You can find me on Elon's fake Twitter at ChipChat RR, and you can find us on Facebook or Instagram at RipChipChat. And you can, of course, find us every Thursday night here on Beltway Radio and beyond at 9:30. I'm Chip. That's Brian. You have been listening to Chip Chat on Beltway Radio and beyond.
Sweeps, street balls.